foes, Virginia Wesleyan. Today, Niagara Hall. I'm Josh Smith, and I'll walk through the action. We'll get right into it. We're starting off with the women's 400-meter medley relay. We're going to have Bridgewater in the lanes and Virginia Wesleyan in the odds. This event, we have Bridgewater. We are off. Back mentioned before, this is the holder College this season. They've competed in 4 meets so far, and starting with the ODAC relays back earlier in October, they finished third out of 7 teams on the men's side, and on the women's side, they finished fourth out of 6. Also, 25th against the Eagles are 3-1 this season. This weekend, they competed in St. Mary's quad meet, where they've also really nicely so far. Relay for a relay. Neck and neck. Of so on January coming to the flags. Bridgewater's 18. Going to that 100 free sprint. Final swimmer in the water, starting at 100 free for Bridgewater. Virginia Wesleyan about to start their freestyle. Tomorrow's 154. Face Chowan at the beginning of the season. Points. They will take event number 1. What a way to start this Lee Crimson and Morgan's Message meet. Virginia Wesleyan comes in second with their A relay, and Bridgewater's B relay finishing up. They'll come in third. Bridgewater's A relay put down a time of 4:42.7, as you can see on the ticker on the top right of your screen. Virginia Wesleyan's A relay put up a 4:57.17, and coming in third, Bridgewater's B relay with a 5:09.59, and finishing up the C relay for Bridgewater put up a 5:35.4. Next up, we got the men's. We'll talk a little bit about the men's team in depth for both sides as we get ready to start this event. So I guess they'll let the relay teams hop in and swim all the way back down and get out on a deep end, and have the men go ahead and get in for their backstroke starts and start the event. Event number 2 on its way. If you can't see, we have a crowd full of people on the left side of the pool. A whole lot of student athletes, parents, and other supporters of Bridgewater swimming, or even Virginia Wesleyan swimming, coming out to support their teams. It's pretty packed in here down the pool deck. You have people over off the deep end supporting the team. Of course, you have the team walking off, team standing on right below me. I'm on top of the balcony, I guess you would call it. It's a pretty good atmosphere today. So it looks like we have a full house for event number 2. We have Bridgewater once again in the even lanes, and Virginia Wesleyan in the odd lanes. A relays in lanes 3 and 4. B relays in 2 and 5, and Bridgewater has a C relay in lane 6. After this, we'll have the baby IMs, as I like to call them, the 100-meter IMs on the women's side, and then on the men's side, we have, I'm kind of looking forward here, a little far in advance, but we have 4 people in that event, lanes 1, 2, 4, and 6, and then in the men's, we have lanes 2, 4, and 6. So, pretty small event. Looking down the heat sheet, there are only 2 events where we will have multiple heats, and that'll be event 8, men's 50-meter freestyle, and event 14, the men's 100-meter freestyle. So on the women's side, no second heats. On the men's side, only a couple times, but like I said earlier, it should be a pretty short meet. Backstrokers are in the water. let's take a look, starting with Virginia Wesleyan's men's team and what they've been up to this season. They're also 2-2 on the season. They start off at the ODAC relays. Let me pull up the ODAC relay results real quick, just to kind of give us all a refresher on how that went for everyone across the ODAC. So on the women's side, Bridgewater finished 4th in the ODAC relays, and on the men's side, Bridgewater finished 3rd. Virginia Wesleyan came in 7th on the men's side and 6th on the women's side. I'm not going to reverse that because I don't want whatever internet joke to be made out of this. So 7th and 6th, not the other way around. Breaststrokers are in. Kind of got sidetracked there. Breaststrokers are in. Bridgewater's a relay. Sizable lead already after the first 100 backstroke. At Bridgewater's B relay, slightly ahead in 2nd, and then Virginia Wesleyan's A relay in 3rd. And then her B relay and Bridgewater's C relay are kind of neck and neck there for 4th. The A relay for Bridgewater finishing up their breaststroke right now. About to head into the fly section. So yeah, as I was saying, Virginia Wesleyan 7th in the ODAC relays at the beginning of the season, back on October 4th. Faced Chowan, opened up their season with a win against Chowan in a dual meet, 552 to 374, and back-to-back losses. One against ODAC foe Randolph and another one against St. Mary's. That was in a dual meet over in Lynchburg at Randolph's facility. And then last weekend, just like the women they faced off against Gallaudet, took a win 178 to 29. So 2-2 on the season for them. In Bridgewater, they're 3-1. Dropped the meet to Lynchburg early on in the season on the 25th. So about 2 weeks ago, their only loss on the season, 116 to 145. It's a pretty good showing, especially being at Lynchburg's place. Then they participated in a quad meet, took wins over Stevenson, St. Mary's, and Southern Virginia over at St. Mary's facility. So, I mean, that's got to feel good going and picking up 3 wins in one weekend and then coming to face an ODAC foe. You got it. And, I mean, opening up on a Bleed Crimson and a Morgan's Message game, that's got to feel good. Here's the last stretch of freestyle. Last 50 for Bridgewater's A team. It's like the B team for Bridgewater has kind of made up bigger lead over the volleyball. listed. So, you know, I need to finish first. At lane, yeah, four first, and but anything possible. Butterfly, and then back, and then breast and free. 25 each, baby, I am. A little bit close. Lanes one and going to give second lane two. Eaton, she's going to finish in third, and Kelly's going to finish in fourth. And the men kind of had the lane assignments messed up, or it got like for 1.5, so pretty close margin. Now we have the women's 200-meter freestyle with four. In this. In lane 5 is George Holsinger. In lane 6, a full house right here. Not the event 6 right now, the men's 200-meter freestyle. Apologize that we have a banner hanging below our camera setup, so whenever we pan over to the starting boards, it's going to block those first 2 lanes to your right. There, he's got to win. Bridgewater and Virginia top winner. They're 50. First 100. My apologies. Alessandro Nani and Matthew Thomas, side by side. Thomas looks like he has a slight advantage. Very slight advantage. They're going to have third, just very slightly. Riley Schaefer, which is a little over Bridgewater's Frank Butler. Thomas and Nani have been neck and neck this whole race. This last 25 is going to be really fun to watch. Really fun to watch. And it looks like Nani kind of lost his cap. Well, both of them lost their cap. What a way to end the race. Both of them lost their cap. But Virginia Wesleyan's Matthew Thomas takes the first event on the men's side for the Marlins. That was a drag race all the way through and through. I mean, both of them were neck and neck the whole race, and I mean, both of them lose their caps. And you saw as he was about to touch the wall for the last time, Thomas, his cap was literally hanging by a thread. Next, we have the women's event 7, the women's 50 free. Once again, it's going to be a very, very quick event. Once again, full house. Virginia Wesleyan's Ella Bowl in lane 1. Nell Hines from Bridgewater in lane 2. Lana Maki in lane 3 for Virginia Wesleyan. Tess Gorby in lane 4 for Bridgewater. Susanna Fernandez in lane 5 for Virginia Wesleyan. And Paisley Holyfield in lane 6 for Bridgewater. So, same thing we kind of been reiterating this whole meet. Bridgewater even, Virginia Wesleyan odd. Here's the quickest event of the day. Just a quick sprint down and back. We only have one listed time here, and that's Nell Hines. She recorded 29:10. That's the only time we have on our heat sheet. Means we have a lot more time on the heat sheet. We'll get to that when we get there. Run away. Tess Gorby off to a pretty nice lead. First 25 into the flip turn. Good push off the wall. She should be able to hold it. Bridgewater, looks like they want a 1-2. Bridgewater does get the 1-2. Hines finishes second. She puts down a 29.94. Tess Gorby wins the event. She puts down a 28.24. Virginia Wesleyan. Lana Maki, she puts up a 30.22. Susanna Fernandez comes in fourth with a 32.10. So make it the next two. Fifth, Bridgewater's Paisley Holyfield. She puts down a 32.36. And in sixth, Ella Bowl from Virginia Wesleyan. She puts up a 34.94. Now we have the men's first heat of 2. We have a full house for this first heat. Brenton Canterbury, lane 1. Ben Bowden in lane 2, Riley Schaefer in lane 3, Connor Kayer in lane 4, Gavin Ware in lane 5, and Nate Herman in lane 6. According to the heat sheet, Connor Kayer with a 23.65, and he's already off to a good start, just off the blocks. He's already a really good start from him, and he's already got a really sizable lead even before going into the flip turn. Connor Kayer puts together a 23.53. What a sprint. Just under the program record set by him, and it's a 23.45. Barely missed that mark. What a sprint from Kayer, though. That is good for the second best time in program history on the men's side, though, in that event. So I was talking to Coach Gwen Harrison before the meet, and that was one of the things she told me. You know, they're swimming on a short course this year. They're swimming meters pool. There was a potential for a lot of records to be broken today. Kayer came very close right there. We can talk more about Connor Kayer later, but just know he's a real good swimmer. Next up, Heat 2. We have 3 swimmers. We have 2 listed on the heat sheet, but we have 3 for the event. Eddie Klinko in lane 4 and Jonathan Moyers in lane 5. Can't really make out who that is in lane 3. From this far up, and everyone wearing a white cap and the same jammers, you know, everyone kind of looks the same. Klinko puts down a 26.4 to take Heat 2. Next up, we have the women's 200 IM. So we have Addison Detweiler in lane 2 for Bridgewater, in lane 3 for Virginia Wesleyan, Abigail Carlson, lane 4, the McKenna Curry from Bridgewater, and 5, Erin Busry for Virginia Wesleyan. Fastest seed time for this event comes from Curry. She put down a 2:35.31. And that is currently the second best time in program history in the 200-meter IM. Best time is 3 seconds out, set by Emma Dahl back in 2018. She put down a 2:32.16. Curry already off to a good start. Curry was a part of the 800 free relay in the ODAC championships that finished 5th. She was the anchor. Some other times in last year's ODAC championship, she was the leadoff in the 400 free relay, and they placed 5th as well. She also swam in the 200 free in the prelims and made the finals, finished 12th. Swam in the 200 fly prelims, the 200 fly finals, and finished 10th. 200 IM prelims, finished 15th, and finished 11th in the finals. Look back. Curry's on breaststroke right now. Real sizable lead over the other three, and it looks like Virginia Wesleyan's bar lanes, or if that's lane 3 or lane, which one's lane 3 and lane 5. Curry finishing up her free. That's lane 3. Abigail Carlson, sizable lead for second, and then third, Erin Busry. And trailing behind Addison Detweiler. It's like Curry's going to cruise to a win in the women's 200 IM. Puts up a 236.9. Let's see where that racks up. Just under third place. That's fourth best time in program history. Third best time set by Caitlin Wiggles. Her last name's cut off. Set in 2022. It was a 236.42. So just off of having that third best time and holding the second and third best times in program history in this event. Next up, we got the men's 200 IM. We have Alex Bay in lane 2 for Bridgewater. Cal Long in lane 3 for Virginia Wesleyan, and Christian Carroll in lane 4 for Bridgewater. Christian Carroll currently holds the fourth best time in program history in this event. He ran a 2:15.06 earlier this year. The event record set by Andrea Cibrario, my apologies, and he put down a 2:12.49. You know, anything's possible. Christian Carroll off to a good start here. The Maryland native. Finished second in the ODAC championships in 100 back. Got a whole bunch of second and thirds to his portfolio here from the ODAC championship. I got a slight lead in backstroke over Cal Long. Alex Baye, he's slightly behind in third. Start breaststroke. Once again, let's look at Christian Carroll and his accolades in last year's ODAC championship. Well, should I say this year's ODAC championship, because it's still 2025. But he finished first in the 100 back prelims, but finished second in the finals. He's also part of that 400 free relay that came in second. He was the leadoff for that, and he was the leadoff in the 200 medley relay that finished third in the ODAC championship as well. Finished third in 50 free, finished second in the prelims for that event, and 100 free, fourth in the finals. So, I mean, it's a really impressive resume, but we're looking back. Carroll got overtaken. Cal Long somewhere got the advantage, but it's still anyone's race headed to the wall. But it looks like Cal Long's going to sneak away with this one. Yep. Kale Long sneaks away this one, puts down a 217.3. No, 217.2. Carroll puts down a 217.3. So just like not even a tenth of a second off. That's like 400ths, I think that is. Really close event. Well, all right, let's look at Kale Long. See what he's accomplished thus far. He's a senior for Virginia Wesleyan. Absolutely dominated all 4 events he was in Gallaudet. Finished first in all 4. Let's go back to the ODAC championship. He's breast in a 200 medley relay for Vol West, and they finished 7th. Finished 6th. Once again, I'm not going to reverse that because I don't want an internet joke to be made. I don't want to be memed. But finished in 6th in the 400 medley relay. He also did breast in there. He was the anchor in both the 200 free and the 800 relay. He was the anchor in both of those relays. Finished 8th in both of those of his team. And finished 5th in the 105 finals. That was his best result in last year's ODAC championship. And it looks like we're going to take a break. Thanks for tuning in so far. We'll be back momentarily, folks. We're back. We're waiting for the start of event 12. That's right, we don't have an event 11. Event 12, the men's 200 meter fly. Took a little break. They had a diving contest or a belly flopping contest, whatever you want to call it, for the Bleed Crimson festivities. And women's volleyball player Sarah First, she got perfect 10s on her belly flop. Speaking of women's volleyball, they're playing at home, their final regular season home match against Gallaudet at 5 p.m. here in Neininger, right across the hall. And they secured third place for the ODAX tournament. They'll face Guilford on Tuesday in the first round. Also going on in Bridgewater Athletics, we have basketball. Basketball season's return. Hoops are back. They're facing William Peace, men's basketball facing William Peace on the road. USA South foe at 4 o'clock in Raleigh. And then they'll turn around and play tomorrow. Play Methodist tomorrow. Wait, no, that's next week. My apologies. They play North Carolina Wesleyan also in Raleigh on Sunday. So they're going to start off their season facing two ODAC foes. Well, USA South foes. My apologies. The women's tennis is in action against Randolph. In football, they're on the road against Hampton Sydney. Just got off their bye week last week. So it's one of the quieter weekends we've had on campus, given the events, the festivities we had in the previous weeks. We had we had ODAC tournaments, we had homecoming, all that jazz. But let's get started on the main event. We have event number 12, men's 200-meter butterfly. We have Colton White in lane 2, Caleb Erb in lane 4, Tommy Sager in lane 5, the only Virginia Wesleyan swimmer in this event, and in lane 6, Nico Valente. So 2, 4, and 6 Bridgewater swimmers. In lane 5, Virginia Wesleyan swimmer. Caleb Erb off to a really solid start here. Event record for this is set by Tommy Royane back in 2024. He put down a 2:19.83. Erb, the younger brother of junior Zachary Erb and team captain and All-American, does have a time listed here, but it's off to a pretty good start. Both him and Colton White head-to-head for the lead. And Tommy Sager a little behind. And then in fourth, you have Nico Valente. Erb kind of inching ahead a little bit. This event, this is probably one of the tougher ones. I mean, you got to do 200 meters of butterfly. Just personal preference. Not my cup of tea, but to each his own. Final 50 for Erb. Made a little more of a sizable lead over Colton White. Kind of getting a little tired there. Hit the 2-minute mark. The program record is a 2:19.83. And it looks like that's going to be broken. A 2:15.54. That is a new record. Set by Caleb Erb in the men's 200 butterfly. Bridgewater takes the 1-2. Colton White puts together a 2:20.42, just under the record himself. Sager in third, and Valente finishes fourth. Next up, we have the women's 100-meter freestyle. Mia Flory in lane 2, Allie Peck in lane 3, Nell Hines in lane 4, Sarah Zapp in lane 5, and Paisley Hollifield in lane 6. The event record for this in program history was set by Malia Ross back in 2022. Put together a 1:11:15. So we almost have a full house here for this event. As we await for the finishers of the men's 200 fly to exit out the deep end of the pool, so the women can start 100-meter freestyle. Almost a full house. Every lane except for lane 1 is taken. And the men's will have the last event with 2 heats. Up the sheet. And of course, event 11 was excluded because we didn't have any interest for the women's 200 fly. Mia Flory off in lane 2. She's off to the lead. Usually you'll see your lanes 4 and 5 ahead, but here Flory, she's kind of off to a good start. Has a sizable lead, and it looks like Bridgewater is going to try and make that 1-2 work. With Nell Hines throwing closely behind. But now Sarah Zapp has something to say about it. She's sitting right there. She can still take second. That's a 109. From Mia Flory, so that's going to be a record. Second place goes to Nell Hines with a 109.16. She would have also broken the record herself. Flory put down a 106.59. In third, Sarah Zapp. She finishes third with a 110.5. And in fourth, you had Allie Peck. So 34 finish for Virginia Wesleyan. She put together a 111. Now we got heat 1 of the men's 100-meter freestyle. Lane 1, Matthew Thomas. Lane 2, Alex Baye. Lane 3, Brendan Temple. Lane 4, Connor Kayer. Lane 5, Mason Pfeiffer. In lane 6, Pfeiffer. I'm going to go with Pfeiffer. In lane 6, Nate Herman. Record for this event, 101.75. Set by Tommy Ronayne in 2023. Connor Kayer, he looks like to be off to the lead at the wall, flips first. That was a 26-88 split. Bridgewater kind of pulling away in lanes 1, 2, and 4. Alex Baye, he's kind of closing in a little bit in those waning meters, but Kayer's going to hold it. That's a new record, 56-23. First time under a minute in program history. On the meter side, of course. Connor Kayer puts up a program record in the meter side of things. Alex Baye comes in second with a 57-20. Also comes in under a minute. Third place, Matthew Thomas, 58.02. Fourth place, lane 5, Mason Piffer of Virginia Wesleyan puts together a 59.03. And fifth, Nate Herman with a just whole lot of ones there. 10101. Looks like computer code on a timer right there. Now we have heat 2. Jonathan Moyers in lane 3 and Brian Kuskowski in lane 4. Both Bridgewater swimmers. After this, we have the women's 200-meter backstroke, my apologies. Full house for that one. Of course, not talking about the TV show. .28.4 split for Brian Kuskowski. Warriors with a 32-34 split. And it looks like Kuskowski is going to cruise to taking a second heat. And Moyers finishes with a 108.9. Now we have a full house for the women's 200-meter backstroke. Erin Budry of Virginia Wesleyan in lane 1. Liz Foreman in lane 2 for Bridgewater. Emery Garza in lane 3. Lane 4, Annabelle Dragon. In lane 5, Susanna Fernandez. Lane 6, Lily Barron. After that, we have event 16, the men's 200-meter backstroke. Sitting there chilling, just waiting. We have Zach Erb, All-American, but we'll talk about him later. Man of many talents. So the program record for this event is a 2:31.21 set by Lexi Roberts back in 2023. We're looking at what she put up last weekend. The Invitational over at St. Mary's against Stevenson, SVU, and St. Mary's. She put together a 105.79. Of course, this is a yards pool, so, of course it's a 100-meter back, but that's what she put up. And she also put up a personal best in the 200 IM, finished first in that, put up a 225.96. That was last weekend at the quad meet. Was also a lead-off in the medley relay, so she swam that backstroke portion, and they came in 7th, put up a 31-36 split there. We're going to snap back to reality here. Garza in lane 3 with put up a 152.90 split right here. Dragon in second. And Emery Garza in the meet versus Gallaudet. Finished first in the 100 IM and the baby IM and a 200 medley relay. She was the anchor for that, so she swam the free portion. So Garza comes in first. She puts down a 2:32, and Dragan puts down a 2:37.4. That's going to miss the record. She's sitting, looks like 6th with that time. Third place goes to Susana Fernandez. So Virginia Wesleyan dominates the podium on that event. Miriam Budry comes in 4th, puts down a 2:46.7. Nice little Virginia Wesleyan dominance in that event. Next up, we have the men's. 200-meter free. 200-meter backstroke. So we have Zachary Erb in lane 4, seated time of 2:13.9. Top time was set by Andreas Cibario back in, well, last season in 2024. He put down a 2:11.76. So I was mentioning earlier, Zachary Erb, a man of many talents. He was singing the national anthem prior to today's meet, before today's meet, I should say. One of the premier swimmers in the ODAC. He was an ODAC champion in 100 breast. Also an ODAC champion in 200 breast. Also in the 200 IM. So he also competed in the NCAA Division III Championship. Finished second in his prelims in 100 breast. And third in the finals. So sat on the podium among some of the elite competition in Division III. Really good. It's always really good to represent the ODAC and Bridgewater in national competition. So Erb off in the lead. Erb is also a student worker for Bridgewater's media relations crew. Takes pictures and takes videos, so really multi-talented guy. Long in the last meet against Virginia Wesleyan. He came in first in 100 fly. And he put up a 24.80 split, which is a season best for him. ODAC Championships, I think we already talked about it. In this very event, he came in 10th. He put together a 1:58.75. Of course, this isn't a yards pool, so we'll have to see how he converts here today. So we're done. Zach Erb put up a 2:15.23. Doesn't break the record. He's off by 4 seconds, but he sits in second. Long finishes second. He puts together a 2:23.14. Third place, Chris Schultz from Bridgewater puts together a 2:29, and in fourth, Camden Holmes from Virginia Wesleyan puts together a 2:38.43. Next, we have the women's 400-meter freestyle. I stand corrected from my earlier statement. We do have a long-distance event today. So we have Macaria Molina in lane 2 for Bridgewater. She put together a seed time of 5:05.8. In lane 3 for Virginia Wesleyan, Laura Young, a seed time of 4:56.5. And Grace Warren in lane 4 for Bridgewater put together a seed time of 6.67. Do it. For Virginia Wesleyan, no seed time. And they're off. So we're going to be here for a while. We have on the deep end, we have our counters. So I believe it's 17, and then they'll get to probably be 15 and then red if I'm correct, because 17 then red is for the 500-yard free. So we'll be off one for this one. We'll kind of sit back, take a while, and get to know some of the people in this event. So if we look at, we're going to look at Grace Warren first. Grace Warren, she's mainly a distance swimmer for Bridgewater. She was a finalist in 3 different events. In the mile, she put down a 17:34.1. She finished second. She finished third in the 500. Once again, these are yard conversions, not meters. So we'll have to see how the conversion carries out here. She put together a 5:07 in the 500 free and finished sixth in a 200 free with a time of 1:58. 2024, she finished third, put together a time of 17:54. So 20-second improvement from 2024 to 2025 ODAC championships in the mile. And she finished in seventh in the 500. So 3-second improvement there. She put together a 5:10.9 in the ODAC championships. So Laura Young from Virginia Wesleyan. Not seeing any competition from her from the ODAC championships, but in the last meet, she competed in 50 fly, 100 fly, and a 200 medley relay as a butterfly swimmer. The relay came in first. She came in first for 100 fly, put together a time, a season best of 1:09.4. And for the 50 fly, she put together a time of 30.9. Good for second. In the meet versus St. Mary's and Randolph, she competed in this event. Well, not this event. She competed in a 500 free, finished sixth with a time of 6:05.7. And in a mile, she put together a time of 21:11.8, good for third place. Already got 11 on the marker here. Like Grace Warren's about to lap a swimmer. gets her 13 marker. That is lane 5, Ella Bowl, who she is about to lap. Running in second, Laura Young. And Warren gets the bell right here. So it was 13 in red, my apologies. Been out to swim world for a while, so I'm a little rusty. Grace Warren, sizable lead. As long as nothing drastic happens, she should come away with this one. And she's going to come away. Doesn't quite get the program record, which is a 446.67. She finishes in first with a 455.9. She looks exhausted. I mean, rightfully so. You just swam 400 meters. Laura Young comes in second. Time of 5:18.7. Beatrice Macario Molina comes in third with a time of 5:34.8. And Ella Bowl comes in fourth with a time of 5:44.1. Next up, we have the men's 400-meter freestyle. Ben Bowden in lane 2. Logan Schoen in lane 3. Andrea Sabario in lane 4. And George Holsinger in lane 5. 3 Bridgewater swimmers, well, Holsinger in lane 6, my apologies. 3 Bridgewater swimmers and 1 Virginia Wesleyan swimmer. Program record in the meter short course for this event. Earl Hemlinger put together a 4:17 this year. No seat times for this event here. We could take a deep dive, no pun intended, into Andrea Sabaria. One of the team captains of this team. And a senior. A senior from Italy, mainly a backstroke swimmer, competed in the Old Dominion Athletic Conference Championships this year. Placed 7th in 100 back, put together a 52.85 and 8 in the 200 for back, put together a 156.69. The Italian, I'm trying to look at his history. Last time he's completed in a really long distance, I'm not seeing it. Oh, last time he competed in a distance event, matter of fact, he competed in 800 free against St. Mary's, not this year, but last year in 2024, put together a 105.22 and the converted 1,000 free, put together a 1137.82. As I mentioned, the Italian senior, he's a team captain on this squad. One of the role models that this team looks up to. Savario's the 7th marker. Second, we have Virginia Wesleyan's Hogan Schoen in lane 3. Take a look at the head coaches while we kind of wait for them to finish. This is going to take a little bit. Start off with Bridgewater. Gwen Harrison, I have to scroll a little bit to get to the beginning of hers. Breeze has a stacked resume, stacked trophy case in the swimming world. She swam over at Kenyon College. She was a national champion in all 4 of her seasons, so from 91 to 94, and she was a team captain and earned All-American honors in 8 events. So already really stacked resume as a competitor. Also plays volleyball there. She was a team captain, team MVP, and an all-NCAC selection, and she was an assistant volleyball coach when she was there and also when she went over to Bethany. She's been coaching here at Bridgewater since the 2016-2017 season. Last season, the women finished with a 7-1 record, and they made it to the ODAC championship and placed 5th overall. The men placed 4th overall. And, of course, she coached Zachary Oak, the first ever qualifier in program history. And he earned All-American status with a 3rd-place finish in a 100-yard breast. And she has 6 swimmers on the men's side selected to all ODAC teams. So, Christian Carroll and Zachary Erb. Carroll just barely missed the All-American mark last season. And she also earned ODAC Coach of the Year in 2023 and the Virginia SID Men's Coach of the Year in 2020 for the 2022-2023 season. And Sabario gets the bell. Last lap for him. He'll see the Reds as he touches the wall for the last time. Barrio puts down a 432.17. Doesn't come close to breaking the record or even his own. He'll be pretty far down that records list, but still good showing. Still gets the job done here today. Schoen comes in second, puts down a time of 4:51.44. Third taken by Ben Bowden. He put down a 5:13.2. 4th place goes to George Holsinger. Put down a 5:31.0. And we're going to take a quick break here. But before I take a quick break, since I already talked about Coach Harrison, I want to talk about Virginia Wesleyan's head coach. Cassandra Wilburn is her 2nd season as the director of men's and women's swimming. So, first season last year, as I mentioned earlier, the women's team finished 6th, and Lauren Hendricks, she was named to an all-conference team and broke 3 school records. The men, they finished 6th as well. They're led by Cale Long. Swam in some events earlier. We talked about him a bit. He was also named all-conference, and they broke 6 relay records and 5 individual records this season. She is assisted by Summer Wilburn. Not going to assume that there's a relation there, but there may be. Stick with us. Looks like we're taking a quick break before we hop back into action. When we get back, we're going to be in breaststroke. Hit 19 of 22. So we're almost there. The finish line is right there. We can just see it. As I said earlier, this is going to be a quick meet. We have 400-meter breaststroke for both men's and women's, so that's 19 and 20, and then 21 and 22, the most exciting events of the meet. So, I mean, still a really nice showing if we look at the left side of the pool. You know, we still have a packed showing of Virginia Wesleyan and Bridgewater, mainly Bridgewater parents and fans and classmates and fellow student athletes also showing their support. As mentioned, volleyball, they compete later on today at 5 o'clock. So, you know, it's kind of helpful for them to show support to their fellow classmate, their fellow student athlete, their fellow roommates, their fellow friends, whatever the relation may be. But anyways, hang tight, folks. We'll take a quick break, and then we'll hop back into breaststroke. I'm Josh Smith. Thanks for tuning in so far. Stick with us on FloSports and Bridgewater College Sports Network. We are so back, but it's got to make yeah, after the when it's order for the well, it's 200 before my apologies. We're going to talk to Grace Warren. So we'll have a second interview up here after we get done with the event, and then maybe we'll have a men's up after the day. A 200, the more, but also more technical one. And Lawrence in lane 4, sizable lead over Virginia Wesleyan's Abigail Carlson. Got Bridgewater swimmers, 6 and 2. My perspective, but nope. Touch the wall first, off the wall right there. Touch right there. I believe this might be her last 50, if I'm correct. On the women's side, program for this event in meter pool was set by Izzy Bauer back in 2022. It's a time of 2:52.56. Peyton Lawrence comes first with a 2:56.62. Doesn't quite get the record, but that still puts her with the fourth best time in program history on a meters pool in this event. Abigail Carlson comes in second. Kaylee Eaton comes in third with Grayson Kelly in fourth. Next event right here, pretty quick one. I think we have a third entry in lane 3, but all 3 Bridgewater swimmers for this event as we wait for the finishers of event 19 to just backstroke, take their merry old time, cruise on down to the deep end and get out the pool. So we get started with event number 20, the men's 200-meter breaststroke. So we have Chris Schultz in lane 2 and Alessandro Nani in lane 4. Going to move lane 3 over to lane 5. This again, I can't really see who that is. So I'm not going to try and say any names or assume, because you know what they say about people who assume, right? Anyways, off we go. Event 20, men's 200 breaststroke. Mentioned earlier, pretty technical event. Probably the slowest event out of all 4 strokes. Really technical though. Gotta make sure you get everything right. Make sure you do your pull out, you do your kick, and you push with your arms. Play 1 butterfly kick. Do it all in the right order. Gotta make sure you do your strokes and your kicks at the right cadence. Make sure you touch the wall with two hands. I know back in my day, that's something that's gotten me plenty of times. Got to touch them both at the same time. Can't do a 1-and-1 or just a one. Got to do both hands at the same time. Anyways, back to the race. Alessandro Nani, sizable lead. All right, think about it. Talked about Virginia Wesleyan's assistant. Let's talk about our own assistant. Ethan Coleman, he's our own assistant. He just got promoted to full-time according to just last year. It's his second year full-time. He was started as our assistant coach in the 2021-2022 season. Played his part in the development of this program since starting here. And he swam collegiately for Davis and Elkins College. He also coaches the Valley Swim Team Phoenix. It's going to be the last 50 for Nani. The program record in this event was set by Nani himself this year, a 227.94. Zach Erb sits in second with a 228.79. Both of those were set in 2025 this year. Looks like he might be a little bit off, just a little bit off the pace from breaking that record. Nonetheless, 229.9, just barely under the 230 mark, like 0.02 of a second. $239.49, third place, 248.7. Nani's time in regards to the program meters, 200-meter stroke. That'll put him in third, behind record and Zach Erb. Next up, we have the main event for the women's, or something I would call a main event. I mean, kind of a subjective opinion, but I say this is the most exciting event in a swim meet. Like, on both the men's and the women's side, you get to that event 23-24. Everyone's hyped. This is the last event. This is the main event. Usually the closest event, depending on how it plays out. So once again, we have Bridgewater and even lanes, Virginia Wesleyan and Oz. We have teams in 2, 3, 4, and 5. Bridgewater's A relay off to a good start. I wasn't handed any names in the relay, so that's why I haven't been saying relay names this whole meet. So I'll just stick with the name. The name of the relay: Bridgewater A team, Virginia Wesleyan A team, Virginia Wesleyan B team, Bridgewater B team. So remember, 100 meters per swimmer. Bridgewater's A relay off to a really good start. But Virginia Wesleyan's A relay is just right there to kind of gain a little bit of ground. Maybe that might be my perspective point, but they're staying right there. Point stays the same. Good push off the wall from Bridgewater's A relay. Gives them a little bit of an advantage. Bridgewater's relay touches first, just 0.2 of a second off. Good dive from Virginia Wesleyan, good streamline as well from their A relay. Puts them out front, just by a hair, maybe half a hair, depending on whose hair you're measuring. It's a neck and neck race. This is why this is the most exciting event of your average swim meet, because it's so close. Bridgewater's A relay kind of gets a little bit of an advantage here. Just away a little bit. This is probably the best advantage that's had so far this race. And it's getting bigger. It's only getting bigger. A lot of the emphasis is put on the lead off and the anchor swimmer, but just having a really developed, really even out time in the middle in those 2 and 3 slots, it really helps you. It really helps the relay. It helps make a distance, create space like that. Bridgewater's on their third swimmer. So it's Bridgewater's A relay, Virginia Wesleyan's A relay, Virginia Wesleyan's B relay, and Bridgewater's B relay in that order. We're approaching the 2:41 mark of this meet, of this event. One more 50 for Bridgewater's A relay. It's a final swimmer for that Bridgewater A relay. The anchor gets ready to dive in. Bridgewater has a pretty sizable lead over second place. But I can say the same about the third and fourth place race. Though it's not that as big of a gap, still a pretty nice, sizable gap. Anchor's in for Bridgewater. And that lead's only getting bigger. Coming up on the start of the last 50 for Bridgewater's A relay. Next up, let's look at the next up schedule for Bridgewater. They're going to go to VMI and compete in the Kedat Invitational next weekend. That's going to be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday thing. So just the whole weekend they're going to be competing there. And then they're done for the year. And they pick back up at Roanoke at the new year. Once we find a little bit of breathing room here, we'll talk about what Val West has. Val West closed the gap a little bit while I was looking at the schedule, but Bridgewater nonetheless still takes the win in this event. Time of 4:23.7. Val West's A relay comes in second with a 4:27.3. Val West have a name change at the end of this school year. We changed to Baton University. If you don't know, now you know. Virginia Wesleyan's B relay comes in third. Bridgewater's B relay comes in fourth. Now I'll hop in the water and kind of cruise back down to the deep end so we can start the final event of the meet, the men's 400-meter relay. So now we have kind of a little bit of a breathing moment. Let's take a look at what Virginia Wesleyan has next up on the schedule. After today, they'll go to Randolph-Macon. And I assume that's going to be long schedule, or it's going to be multiple teams there, but they're going not this weekend, so they're going to take a break. And then after that, after competing in Ashland, they're going to be done for the year. They're going to take Thanksgiving break and Christmas break off, take care of their finals, and then they're going to start off the new year, head to Virginia Beach, facing Barton College. And then after that, they're going to face Chowan. So two Division II schools back to back. They're going to take a week off, and they're going to face them on January 24th. Two Division II schools back to back, and then they're going to face Randolph-Macon at the end of the month, and then they're going to be in time. They're going to be done, and then February 11th to the 14th, they're going to be at the ODAC tournament. That's the men's side. Bridgewater, they'll face Roanoke on the new year on January 10th, and then they're going to go on the 24th, and they're going to go have a dual meet against Hampton Sydney and Sweetbriar. And then they'll be at the ODAC Championships from the 11th to the 14th. This year, the NCAA Nationals is on March 18th, so should any team have anyone competing in that, that's the date. It'll be held in Indianapolis, Indiana at the U of Indy facility. And as always, the ODAC Championships will be held at the Greensboro Aquatic Center. I may be biased when I'm saying this, but I think it's the best swim facility in the United States. Once again, I might be biased, but that's just my opinion. Got the final event of the night, or the afternoon, I should say. The men's 400-meter freestyle relay. You got Bridgewater in even lanes, Virginia Wesleyan odd. So Bridgewater in 2, 4, and 6, Virginia Wesleyan in 3 and 5. Lane 1's empty. Almost a full house here. Go ahead and get ready for the final event. And they're off. Pretty even on the dive. Bridgewater comes out slightly in front. Their A relay, I should say. Virginia Wesleyan's A relay kind of made up ground towards the wall. A good push off the wall keeps the lead for Bridgewater's A relay. Look at the record for the men's 400-meter freestyle relay. I don't have it on my paper, but I was talking to Coach Gwen Harrison, and she said she feels like this is one of the records that could be broken today. And if it is, I would love to talk to one of the men's swimmers that was on this relay team. Bridgewater, sizable lead. Like they're running 1-2. Their B relay is kind of giving them a little bit of a challenge here. Might overtake them for the lead. The B relays really putting on a show today for Bridgewater. Nonetheless, Bridgewater trying to secure a 1-2. Relays not in any games today, showing up, really taking care of business, but don't count that A relay out. Virginia Wesleyan's A relay sitting in third comfortably. The fourth place, their B relay, they're right there. Oh, this is where it gets good, neck and neck. Two Bridgewater relays, neck and neck. This is where it gets good. The A relay retakes the lead, gets off the wall first. They have one more swimmer coming up on the last flip turn. The B relay's kind of dying off here a little bit, but still hold a little bit of a comfortable lead over Virginia Wesleyan's A relay, so that 1-2 finish is still in question, but Virginia Wesleyan's A relay is closing ground fast. Meanwhile, Bridgewater's A relay really taking care of business. I'm not saying it's a Sunday stroll the rest of the way. Bridgewater's B relay. Anchors. Over Virginia Wesleyan's A relay, so maybe Bridgewater can. A relay, take care of business. take care of business and they secure that 1-2. The A relay finishes with a time of 3:46.8. B relay finishes with a time of 3:49.7. Virginia Wesleyan's A relay finishes in third, rounds off the podium with a time of 3:53.1. That finishes up the meet. Stay tuned with us. We'll have some post-meet interviews here in a bit. We'll interview Grace Warren and hopefully a member of this men's 400-meter relay. Stick with us on FloSports and Bridgewater College Sports Network. back here at Nininger Hall, and I am interviewing Grace Warren. She's got done competing today. Grace, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. So, walk me through your meet today. How did it go? How did you feel being back at home, competing in front of your friends and your family, and the Bridgewater atmosphere? How does that feel?
I thought it was awesome. I was so excited for this meet because we are being able to compete with our family and friends around and our Bridgewater family here to support us. The turnout was amazing, especially from other athletes, so I really appreciate them coming out and seeing us. The meet went really well. I feel like a lot of us swam well, especially at a hard part of the season. You know, we're really giving it our all and getting excited for our championship meets coming up.
Awesome. Talk about your performances today. How do you feel you did? And I know this is your first time swimming in a meters pool this season. How was that difference? How was it adjusting from swimming in a yards pool? And just how was that?
Yeah, I mean, I overall am pretty happy with my performances. I think times-wise, I'm definitely in the thick of the season, so I'm pretty tired, so I'm not really focusing on that. I'm focusing more on the technique and how I'm swimming it, and I think I'm doing a good job with that, so I'm really happy with that. And getting to swim in meters is a very different challenge. You know, we practice in meters, but we don't get to race in it a lot for swim meets, so it's a nice switch up, and it just reminds you that every pool is different, and you got to train for the pool.
Awesome. Lastly, Coach Gwen, she told me to ask you about your face paint, your makeup. Explain that.
Yeah, I love to do my makeup for every meet. I do it every day, but I do it especially special for every meet. And this meet was even more special because it's our Morgan's Message meet. So I try to do it the Morgan's Message colors, as well as some butterflies to kind of honor Morgan's legacy and represent the dedication meet that we were trying to have.
Awesome. What does Morgan's Message mean to you?
It means a lot to me as somebody who has struggled with both physical and mental health challenges. I think a lot of times we prioritize the physical health in athletics, but we don't talk about mental health as much. But I think our team is doing a really good job at breaking that stigma and knowing that if you're struggling, you can reach out to your teammates, to your coaches, and a professional if you need to.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you. Grace Warren, everybody.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Andrea Sabrario of the men's team. He was part of that 400-meter relay at the end there that took first place. Andrea, talk about your day-to-day just on the performance side of things.
Yeah, we started off strong with a 4 medley relay. I anchored doing the 100 free. That was like pretty good time. Went 54.9, so pretty good. I moved on doing 4 free. It's not really my event, so I just try to pace it as well as I can in the view of the 200 free that I always swim in the 800 free relay. So it was like really good to try out pace and see how we can hold up and to test how the preparation, like training, is going. And then we close off strong again in the 400 free relay, and I open it. So again, 100 free, time was pretty good. So I'm happy with that.
Nice. Just being in front of this Bridgewater atmosphere, being at home, just explain how that felt. Just being in front of all your friends, your classmates, your teammates, family, etc.
It's amazing to swim home every time, and we appreciating this season even more because we just have like 2 home meets, and this was Bleak Crimson. Bleak Crimson is always great. Basically every team on athletics show up. Shout out to Zach for that. And you see just like having all these people that supports you, and in the empty pool that you see every day when you practice, it really gives you a little more, little spark in your body during the race. It's just like you see the people cheering you on, your teammates calling your name. So you really like, I feel like that's what the sport is all about, the people and the environment.
Also, I asked Grace, talk about how it feels swimming in a meters pool versus being in a yards pool all year. So finally being able to compete in a meters pool.
Coming from Italy, I've always swim in meters. So I've been used to swimming short court meters and long court meters my whole life. The change for me is being in yards. So I always appreciate swimming in a pool that like is short court meters. But I also love swimming yards, and technically some thing needs to be changed when you swim in meters. You need to focus more on your pace, on your fundamentals, such as breakouts, underwaters, and turns.
Yep.
So it really is similar to yards because it's just like a couple meter less, but you can feel the difference, especially off the walls and underwater.
Awesome. Last question. What does Morgan's message mean to you?
Um, Means a lot to me because in this couple years, I struggle with injuries, so I try to put my mental health first, especially last season. And I think this Morgan message meet is important to all athletics because it really shows that we are humans before athletes. We are a strong community, and this is what like Bridgewater is all about.
Awesome. Thank you,
Thank you.
Andrea.
Thank you so much.
Well, that concludes our action for today. Bridgewater versus Virginia Wesleyan. Thank you for tuning along. The results will be on our website momentarily, www.bridgewaterathletics.com. I think that's it. If not, just look up bridgewater.com, Bridgewater Athletics in your search engine. I'm Josh Smith, and it's been a pleasure. Thank you, and I hope to see you next time. So long.